Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Kingdom of Dreams podcast, The Making of Stories. I'm your host, Joad Mir. Today, my guest is actress Hanna Novak, who I had the pleasure of meeting in Poland last month. And she told me her story, and I was like, you have to be on this podcast. Even though it's not a film, it certainly should be made into a film of her escape from Ukraine at the beginning of the war. I won't say anything more than that. I would let you take a listen of her escape from Ukraine with her cat, Mr. Joseph. We talked about it when we met in I was gonna say when we met in Ukraine. I meant to say Poland. When we met in Poland, and however you want to take it as to what I would love to sort of start with, Hannah, is that who's Hannah? Let's start with that first.
Well, that's kind of philosophical question. Um, I would like to talk as if I'm a human, and I'm definitely an actress.
Fair enough. Since you mentioned actress, what was the moment that you realized that you wanted to become an actress? Was it a movie? Was it a performance?
Um, I don't have like any like a moment of realization. It was just like step by step. It started from actually people telling me that I should be an actor, and then me slowly realizing that I'm interested, that I can try, then I'm trying, then I'm doing that, and at some moment I'm like, oh my god, I found a profession, so I will have stuff to do till the end of my life. That's cool.
That's amazing. What was your first work? Was it a theater? Was it a short film, a feature?
Very first, I believe I just booked a commercial, which is like quite a normal way to start. And the first acting job was uh, a TV series on national channel in Ukraine, as far as I'm Ukrainian.
And what was your role? What did you play?
Oh, well, I played, that was a very cunning lady who was trying to scam people.
D- is that something you could relate to?
Absolutely. I can relate to anything. That's why I'm an actress. I understand everyone. Serial killers, like people who commit suicides, like some tricksters, whatever, because like eventually every person has a tiny part of everything, which is like my job, and the stuff I do is just to find it out and to expand just for a movie. Then I put it back and I don't use it in everyday life.
Fair enough. So let's talk about we know when you and I met, we somehow got onto this conversation about your story in the last few years, of how you being from Ukraine and when the war started, and how you made your way out of there. Um, in whichever fashion you want to start, maybe from the day one and pretty much the story as it unfolded. I'll let you go ahead and take a lead on that.
Oh, wow. Okay. To unwrap it and make a little bit like clearer for everyone is just like I'm located and based now in Poland, in Warsaw, and
Hmm.
initially I'm Ukrainian. I was living and working in Kyiv, and capital, for like 6 years, let's say. And when the full-scale invasion of Russia started, uh, I was not prepared because I was the person who is not watching news at all. Like some people say it's like really good to be that crazy, that I was just like really shocked and surprised and not prepared like for this situation at all, because I was not watching any sort of news. Um, and and yeah, I just became a refugee.
But when the war started and how you sort of managed your way from Ukraine to Poland, as you described to me when we met, in a similar fashion or more detailed fashion, if you
Mm-hmm.
can share
Yeah,
that, that would be
sure.
the.
Sure. The thing is, uh, when you are not prepared, you don't know what to do, and you don't know the procedures. Like not everyone is ready to uh, digest what's happening, because it's like a full-scale invasion with bombarding the place I was living in, like directly. So the first step, what we did and what I did, we started to hide in bomb shelters. First of all, you have to find it. It's not that easy. And in Kyiv, we have a metro system which is incredibly deep. It's still like, I believe they were preparing for that since, like, not exactly for that, but for any sort of war in Soviet Union. So that's why they built the metro incredibly deep. You can just like travel in escalator like for 5-7 minutes. You just like stand on the steps and 5-7 minutes, just like you have nothing to do, and you go like really deep. So I was hiding there every night for a week with my cat. Uh,
What's the name of your
just
cat?
his name is Mr. Joseph.
Mr. Joseph, sir. Go on.
Yes. I was hiding there with a cat. There were lots of people, and of course, it's not the place to stay for long. It's just a place to sit, like in a train, and go away. But we were like locating there one on another, like this. Everyone brings like children and animals, some precious stuff. I didn't have any. I just had like a little purse and that cat. So I was living there, not living, but staying every night for a week. Um, it was like a real catastrophe. There was no water in shops. Like there was nothing in shops. Like very quickly, like people went to like to buy everything. Started like to get prepared for some really long suffer. And in at one night when I was just then sitting there and scrolling news, like finally I introduced myself to a news world where I can like understand what's happening further than around my nose. And I found out that the Russian army are killing currently civilians, which was like gave an understanding that I'm also a target. It's not just attempt to take over the Ukrainian government. It's like they're hunting everyone. And that changed my perception from I will stay in bomb shelter as long as I can to I will run away from them as far as I can. And actually, my initial idea was to flee to US, because I thought like this: if I go to the other side of the globe, they won't get me.
Hmm.
And I felt myself like tiny, small, as if I'm like escaping and running, and every stage I make is like this little tiny, I don't play computer games, but like this small tiny thing in computer game, and the huge dinosaurs hunting you. So I felt like this, the difference between the sizes of my body and the catastrophe that is trying to grab me. Uh, so, uh, so I just had like a clear realization I have to flee, and I had to organize it, because it's not that easy. Lots of people who decided to drive by themselves, they were caught and killed, who were escaping at least from Kyiv region, and from many others, unfortunately. So I Googled that the best way is to try to take the evacuation train, which was like organized like by the city system, by the government, and it's for free. It goes like quite often, but it's quite a challenge to take the place there because it's a huge competition. Everyone wants to escape, and I just decided to go as early as I can. We have also currently in Ukraine, even now and before as well, a curfew hours when you can't get out at all. And it's only militaries and police who are driving around the city. So after curfew hour, I just packed all my life. I was renting an apartment for 6 years. I packed all my life in one case, and my cat, which is also like all my life, in another case. And I went for this crazy experience of sitting in this evacuation train for 12 hours, no food, no lavatory, no place to sit. Like I was standing for 12 hours, and we were most of the time traveling in darkness because it was dangerous for a train to have lights. That's how we could be detectable. And sometimes the train was like freezing, like just stopping as if we are not there, not to be spotted by the Russian drone system and some bombardings. So that's how I escaped to Lviv. It's on the border of Ukraine and Poland, the city.
Right. So let me get some clarification. So you were in the subway or, 6, 7 levels down for 1 week, and then from there you went back to your house to get your stuff, or you went straight to the train?
I was, I went back to my house. I packed, as I said, my 6 years of life in a
Okay,
small
great.
suitcase, and it was quite near. So my place was near that station. So it's like 2 minutes walk.
Got it. So being in that subway for a week, right? Um, what explain to me that environment where there's a lot of people. Who are you talking to? What is going through your mind? All that experience of that 1 week. And did you hear the bombardment outside, even though it was way below? Just talk me through that. I would love to know that as much as you can explain.
Well, when you are so deep, you can't hear bombardings. That's why you think everything is fine.
Hmm.
So the source of information was, let's say, like Telegram channels or WhatsApp channels,
Mm-hmm.
where like people were posting news and saying where they heard it and what's happening like around. So immediately there were created some groups only like from this district of Kiev, and the people were like writing down did the missile hit them or not, because it was near. So it was like everyone tried to share information. So I was like sitting in that bunker and getting information only from the phone.
Mm.
I wish I would be a documentalist, because this small environment, which happened on a subway station, it's just like unbelievable, unrepeatable, because like just people who don't know each other, they arrive there and they try to live like in a big family, like as if it's
Mm.
one flat, because there is like nothing. It's just like marble floors and marble walls and two toilets. Like that's it.
And how many people
So
were there, you
at
think?
my station, there was not too much because I was living in a city center, and there's not too many. It's more like a business place where for
Right.
people like to work there, not to live. But like in my station was like, well, let's say 100, and 50
Okay.
of them were always in the queue for a toilet. So it's just like,
Yeah. Makes sense. When a situation like that arises, right? It doesn't matter where you're from. It's just human nature. When food becomes short, when space becomes less, and then you have the stress of not being at your home and there's bombardment going out. Were there any individuals who created problems? Not because they wanted to, but just because the mental health, for the lack of a better word, got to them?
uh-huh. Well, people were going a bit crazy, um,
Like,
like
were there fights? Yeah.
fighting for better place on this marble stuff. Like, yeah, something can be better or worse. And I believe on the fourth day we also got the trains on the station with open doors, not moving, so that the subway was not working from the first day. But also they gave us trains, so it was a competition to take a sit there, just like to have any sort of sit and not to be that cold on the marble. So it was that
Mm.
competition. Once I had a really funny fight, and like now I understand that maybe people are sharing that story from such a side that they met a crazy woman with a cat, and that was me. But at that moment I thought I'm completely right, because I took 3 seats to to lie down, like to sleep, and like my height is like actually 3 seats of a
Yeah.
this in train. And the fourth one I took for my cat, for him like to sit on a box, but on that sit, not on the floor. And that started to be a problem, because like some people got inside and they had to stay on the floor. But I just took and that cat, and somehow they could not like make a direct fight with me, so they were like, like gossiping, telling it to someone. So it was a problem, but I was pretending I don't sense it, because directly there was nothing happening. And then um, some like drunk guy went inside that train, and he tried to take the seat near me, like instead of my cat. And uh, the whole this wagon separated like on two groups. One was for the guy, because the seats are for people, because like he's human, he has to sit. Other people say that he's drunk, he can make a problem. Maybe he's a rapist, or he will steal something when we are asleep. So better the cat than this guy. So they were like deciding and fighting. And actually, my cat won, because he's quite cute. He just like makes this like cute face, and the guy was not making cute face. And I was saying, I'm not gonna like stay with you like in this closed seats. You're clearly drunk. So he started to make such a problem that even police came, and they relocated him somewhere. I don't know where. And mm, yeah, uh, it was just like a like little war inside.
Mm.
And it was funny to see who votes for whom. Like more
Yeah.
young people are for the cat, and the like elder group, of course, like for human, like they say, for human rights. And it's not a problem that someone is drunk, because it's like, why not? Maybe they would also like to get drunk, they just don't have anything. Because yeah, to get there, you should be like checked if you have something with yourself, like some sort of weapon or
Oh, okay.
alcohol or drugs. Yes, the militaries were checking you to put their like to let you go to this.
Okay. Um, no, thanks for sharing that. That's quite interesting. And now you think that that was a bit you were wrong in that situation?
I think I was crazy. Yeah, I was crazy. I mean, of course, that guy was not a best fit for that place near me, but maybe
Right.
someone sober and human could take it. But I was so worried that the cat is scared that I wanted like to sleep, lying down to sleep, and has his face seeing my face that like makes him calm because I can't get him
Mm.
out. He will run away. So he sits in a box, but when he sees my face, he was calming down because he did not react well on this overall situation, being in a cage for the whole night. Yeah, so no one is wrong or right, but someone is definitely crazy.
And in that week, what were your feelings like? Like, was there any vulnerability? Were you scared? Were you calm were you calming people? Were anybody calming you? Like, what was going through your mind and through your heart during that entire week of that experience that you had?
Um, I guess my basic reaction was to freeze, just to freeze and wait. So I was not having any emotional like breakdowns. No one should calm me down. And mm, no one had such a big breakouts back then that I would need like to help to someone. It was more like, like you lose your breath and like you freeze as if you dive under the water, and you like
Mm.
it's not inhale and not exhale. It's like nothing, just to wait and observe. So I literally freezed, and I was getting calls. It's so cool that so deep the phone is like working and you can
I
like
was
use
gonna ask
internet.
you that, yeah.
Yeah, when you travel in a subway quickly, it's not a great internet connection, but when you're just inside and you're not moving in a train, it's quite okay. So people were calling me from different countries, whom I know, like from several countries, and I was having clear connection and talking, and yeah, like my psyche went into this saving mode, and I was very clear, very straight, and like someone told me, oh my god, you're having this metal balls, like you're not even crying. I was prepared like to tell you something like calming down, but I was just like very very sober. So this was the reaction, to just save myself. It doesn't mean that I'm brave or whatever.
Mm. And were you in touch with your family, your siblings, your mom and dad, or your friends?
Yes, absolutely. It's actually, yeah, my mom called me because I sleep so well that I don't hear bombarding.
Mm.
So she let me sleep from 4 to 10 a.m. And at 10, she already decided to call me and to say, what are you doing? And I say, sleeping. And she said, okay, but the war has started. And they were like, it was loud. You could hear that, but I was just sleeping. Yeah, so she saved like me several hours because she could have started, I don't know, from 7 a.m. or from 4 a.m. a.m. Yeah, I was in touch, and no one was like talking like what to do. It's like it's more like realization that the neighbor country is like doing that like more and more, and that it's that serious,
Mm.
like again, like in 2014, but like a huge one, and it went worse than 2014 as per their behavior towards our militaries and civilians. So the realization of that, it's like you can understand something on a very like top level, but when it soaks in, it takes time and it changes like personality. Lots of my friends who stayed in Ukraine, they say they don't recognize themselves like 4 years
Mm.
earlier, like as if it's someone different. It's like, who's that?
Did you know anyone during that time when you were in the train, in the subway station, that you found out through your friends or through your family, whether it was an acquaintance, relative, or a friend that didn't make it?
At that time, no, everything has just started. Like now, I already have some acquaintances or some colleagues from theater uh, who were killed by Russian army.
Sorry for your loss. And how do you deal with that?
Uh, I guess I go through all the circles of acceptance, starting from I don't believe it to being like extremely angry, aggressive, then confessing I'm just uh, powerless to change something. And then like the real grief comes, and maybe it will uh, give birth to something that is connected to what I can do, to something artistic. To I really like. I would love to share like the stories of those people in not in like narrative form, but in a form that can be understood by uh, more people. But
Maybe you should start a
just
podcast.
oh my god, um, I will observe yours a bit longer.
But it
You
is,
know,
sorry, go on.
I feel like this losses. It's like it's not necessarily should be my friend or colleague to feel all that
Hmm.
horror inside. And as a paradox, and I have my theory why and how it happens, it looks like when someone is killed and it's earlier than it's planned by, let's say, God in whatever form
Mm-hmm.
it exists, it looks like they they still have a power, and this power goes to like just the next line or the next branch of the um, na- nation, let's say, as if we are the roots of a tree and one piece of root is just like cut.
Mm.
So the whole energy goes to like just the next line of this root, and we just it feels like I'm unstoppable, we are unstoppable and unkillable. Like there is a very popular currently the having a T-shirt in Ukraine saying that the death won't kill me or the death won't stop me. It's a paradox because like it's actually it will stop you, but not completely. Something safe. So I this is how I deal with this. I don't think it's quite clever, but that's what I feel.
Yeah, well, I mean, you got to deal with the way you want to, you are able to deal with it, right? When you start analyzing, oh, I'm not dealing with it properly or comparing yourself to somebody else, then you're shooting yourself in the foot because you're different than somebody else. Everybody has different ways of dealing with certain things. Um, I would like to go back to the subway station. So from there, you said that it was a 2 minute walk or 3 minute walk to your place where you packed up stuff and then you went to the train station, down the train. That that part, not the train, but just from that subway to your house, from your house to the train. Um, did you, I know you went through curfew time, but was there anything out of the, did you hear anything? Did you see anything that, whether it was fellow Ukrainian or somebody else, that kind of gave you more of a fear because now you're outside after 1 week of being underground and now you're exposed?
It's It's again sort of a paradox because the bomb shelling, the missile that hits, it takes 1 second.
Yeah.
And after that second, everything is the same as it was, except of that exact place. But further, you don't see it, you don't hear it, and you think it's quite okay.
Okay. Yeah.
So when I got out, it was just like nothing. Not too many people, very calm, sunny weather, as
Interesting.
if everything is okay. Because like from my spot, I can't see what's happening on the different bank of the river from which side the Russians were approaching the city, and they were extremely near and creating all this Bucha, Irpin massacre, like right there. So if you don't see it, you don't feel it, you don't know it. And it's happening in real time. Me walking and seeing the beautiful weather and the genocide just on the next bank of the river, for example. That's what was happening. So my fear was only like from understanding what's going on, and then there is no way back. Nothing will become again good. So I just like saw my apartment and I was like shocked. Okay, I have just a suitcase. No one can help me like to hold it, to bring it to somewhere. So it should be lightweight, but it still should take like it should contain something necessary or something that I love. So I remember like trying to decide what I'm packing, and it was it was rough. I actually was trying to put inside the portrait of my grandmother, and it was embedded like together with it has a metal frame, and I could not take it out because it's like it was 50 years old, so it would like take time to take it out. And I was packing it, holding, no, it's too heavy, so I take it out and just like, and I was talking to her, do you want to travel? And she said no. So I didn't take it, but what I took, hear me out here, it's a golden swimming suit. Yeah, so it's a continuation of the story of the crazy woman with a cat. I just somehow felt like, oh my God, it's like it weighs nothing. It's like 15 grams, but it's like so shiny, and like I need like to take it to feel like better. I don't know where I was planning to swim. Yeah, maybe in America, because I said, okay, we'll go to another part of the world and they have like swimming suits there. So it's rough. You know, it lots of people don't recognize themselves like when like me now, like this solution, like talking to a portrait, do you want to travel, as if like I invite my at that time late granny to travel, or the swimming suit. Yeah, so it was for me quite a lonely time, and having fun with the thoughts traveling around my
Yeah.
brain and ideas.
Yeah. No, you got to keep yourself entertained, right? For the lack of a better word, just to keep yourself sane. When you decided to go, right, to escape, you had a communication with your mom or your family that okay, or and they were supportive of that you should go, or was there any, should I'm sure they were like further apart from where you were in the city center, but was there any kind of feeling like, why am I going alone? I should take my family with me.
No, my family quite clearly refused to move. All my family is in Odessa. I'm born and raised there. It's on the sea coast of the Black Sea. It's on the south of Ukraine. So I was in brief touch with mom, and at the very beginning, she proposed just to come to her with a cat. But I did not feel quite a difference. Either you're in a capital or in Odessa. It was a bit calmer there in the beginning, but then it wasn't
Mm-hmm.
eventually. So I remember writing to her, like, I was also scared to go, that if I'm allowed or not, if my family allows me or not. There was also this feeling, and I'm quite grown up and I don't live with my family for the last 15 years, but still I wanted like to understand that I am
Yeah,
allowed.
of
So I
course.
actually wrote to my mom that, or called her, and I said, I want to escape and I don't know like how, but I will like try to flee to America. And she says, okay. And I say, but you understand in America? And she says, and what does it mean? And I said, they normally have such crazy rules that if you're inside and you are like refugee, you don't have documents, you can't get outside for quite a time. That's what I said. I said, like, I don't know the rules, but maybe we won't see each other for 10 years. And she said, like, but it's very good. You will be safe. It means you should
Hmm.
go. So when she allowed me, I felt, okay, no one like is holding me. She's like supporting me. And that was cool.
It's so interesting, as human beings, right? Like, if everything is normal, right? Whether it's you and your mom or anybody else, if you had said, I have a job opportunity in the United States, her reaction may have been very, very different, right? Like, okay, why are you going to US? This is home, family's here, this is your roots are here. But when something like that happens, how the parents have this, this little shelter that comes up and it's about your safety and that's it. They just completely become selfless. And it's always during those times you really understand relationships, I think, more than you ever can in any other situation. Just a comment. I just thought it's interesting that you mentioned that.
Absolutely. It's a very, clear time when everyone understands what they really have between them. I thought I have friends and they
Yeah.
were refusing to talk. I thought that my mom would be like terrified and saying, what are you doing? How would you escape? You don't know anyone there. You don't know anyone around. Like, you will like die from hunger there. And like, no, it's like, okay, dying from hunger takes like 30 days. Dying from a missile takes 1 second. So go for like this hungry option, just in case you will find what to do. So this like, lots of people break up, lots of people marry, find love, find better friends, break up old relations, everything. It's like because the it's very high stakes when the war starts and there is a clear evidence that like you personally can die now. So the
Yeah.
brain starts to operate quicker.
You just mentioned there were some, I think, friends or colleagues of yours who didn't respond to your messages, or didn't stay in touch. You want to talk about that a little bit? I'm just curious, what was that, out of fear or was that just,
Everyone could be like, we react differently, and
yeah, yeah, of course.
someone could be
I'm
too
not judging
loaded.
them. Yeah.
Someone could be too loaded, and they choose the connections, the different connections than me, for example. I think on only that. There was not like any big story. It's just like it it went on. The people whom I had a current connection did not react, and some very old connections helped me, even like finding a spot in Poland. The my friend from 13 years ago, we just, I don't know, at some point lost the common ground and we're just following each other on Instagram, not talking at all. And then like she wrote to me, aren't you going to Poland? Because there are some people who want like to help someone from like the compound. Maybe it's you. And I'm like, yeah, it's me. I'm going and I need help. So that's really crazy. And like, I'm incredibly grateful. And I was like writing to her and whatever. And she said, I did nothing. Like for someone, it's nothing. And for me, it's like, oh my God, like we we had such a good connection that not having connection for 10 years can still like embody itself in like such sort of the help and like reunion and understanding ourselves. Like it's incredible.
It is so true. I find that too, is that I'm not talking about in a situation that you're in or you were in, but just in general, there are certain people that you're in touch with now that you may have a better relationship 10 years from now because they are in different mindset and you are in different mindset, and maybe they don't have what they have right now, or maybe you don't have what you have right now. So, and I have experienced that where I haven't talked to people for like 10, 15 years, and then all of a sudden you'll just start talking. If you do connect, you'll start talking as if you never stopped talking. And it's so fascinating. I find that very, very interesting. And I think it's a testament to your good times that you had with that person. Yeah. Um, So now you're going to the train station and you get on the train. And you told me something which I'll let you explain, the part about your grandma, right? And then you are on the train. Just run through that experience of being on the train in more detail, and then how something that you reflected back to about your grandmother and that connection. So I'll let you take and talk about it.
Okay. As I said, to get to that evacuation train, it's quite a challenge because it's a huge competition. It's only like 3, 4 wagons every
Mm,
2 hours or whatever. And the best time is to go there early morning. So I did it, and I packed like shortly, like just my one suitcase and a cat, and it was extremely cold, like just February. What would you expect? So that beautiful train decided to park half kilometer from the spot, of course, to have less people in, just to depart like without like everyone getting inside, because there was already several stops for this train and it was very few spots left. And what I mean spots are like 2 steps of stairs when you get in the wagon. Like deeper, it's fully packed with people. I don't mean sitting,
mm-hmm,
standing, lying, holding each other. Yeah. So, and when it parked, I understood, okay, I have to run. And it was bad because I was running okay. Some like younger people as well, and elder could not. And some of them were falling down and breaking their like jeans, trousers, like hands. I saw like a lady with blood on hands, and I continued to run instead of helping her to stand up. And when I made it to the doors and I pushed myself inside, and I saw like 2 stairs free, and I was extremely happy. And at that moment, I understood that, wow, it feels like I knew what to do. And I realized that my grandmother did the same operation in 1941, escaping from Crimea, also an evacuation train when like the Nazi army was very close already. And she had, instead of suitcase and a cat, like 2 babies. And if not that decision of hers, she like the family would be killed because she's Jewish. So yeah, if um, if not that decision, I would not exist, and any other like 9 siblings I have from that line would not exist as well. And I, at that moment, I had a real clear instruction that I have to run and just to put myself inside and just not to do anything. I just need to move. So that's how she saved herself and my family. because they survived. They came back to Crimea. The husband came back from war alive. There were two more children from this couple, and like many grandchildren now. Mm, So it's beautiful to have this memories embedded like deep somewhere, and they wake up when it's needed.
Mm,
And before that, I was not thinking of that. And I start to think, oh my God, at least I have information on the phone. I know at which time to go. I know that it's really harsh. And in her position, it was just rumors that, okay, Nazis are killing civilians. And someone was saying, it's impossible. They're such a nice people. So we're staying. And they got killed. And some of other group of people decided, no, we'll try to escape. And they're also fighting for this, like several stairs in the wagon of
hmm.
evacuation train. But it was, and it had the same like uh, titling, like, yeah, it's evacuation train. So, and I'm like, evacuation. I know what's that. And I just run after that thing.
You said um, there was this woman that fell and you didn't help her and you kept going. Obviously, you remember that. Do you ever feel guilty about that at the time or even now? Like you wonder what happened to her?
Uh, no, I don't feel guilty. I just, it's more like I accept my nature, very egoistic. And it's not like she fell down and died. It's more like she was like standing up, but like in a everyday life, you see something like this and you try to help you.
But you
Even
can't.
if I'm in a hurry to
Mm,
somewhere, I would like still like find like several minutes to help. But back then, that memory said we don't stop, we run.
yeah. No, that's well explained. And I remember you mentioned to me when you were on the train, there were parts that you had to go at night and you couldn't make any sound. If you want to sort of talk about a little bit about that, that how that experience was of trying to, besides the washroom problem, besides the crowdedness, just from a safety standpoint and the sound and what it would do if there was sound and you're on a train. Trains make sounds.
Uh, well, the human sounds are not that dangerous as a train sound. So we just like subconsciously understood that when the train stops, everyone wanted to get silent. And of course, animals or children were not on that side. Like they wanted to make sound, so everyone was trying to calm them down. And it also had the two parallel realities. One, when we are traveling and it's a daylight, and as if everything is fine, and people start to fight for food, for place, who stepped on someone's like feet, what's going on, why I took such a case and put it on stairs. It takes too much like space.
Again, the
So,
cat.
and the cat and the suitcase, now like two things. So it was like exhausting to, we are like, we are not used to be that close like physically.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm. So it was like a very like funny, meaningless fights, like at all, like completely meaningless. And the lady who ran to this wagon after me, she immediately like, you know, she stepped in and she feels like, okay, I have to find a place, and I use aggression, and she chose me. And she said like, do you think you will be like staying here in the best spot, young lady? No, you won't. And like she like went into like, she just stepped in and goes to aggressive mode like on me, and I was like, oh my God, I did nothing. So, and it's funny that when she calmed down like and said, oh, why are you like so upset? We have some food for you. So she proposed food, and she starts talking and sharing a really cute story how like she was going to Canada.
Mm,
And she said, I have a family there, like my sister and she has a family. So I will go to them. And you know what I did? I bought this full, and she shows me like the huge purse, like I don't know, like quite as a purse, it's huge. And she says, you know what's there? It's full packed with my like different pills, because I know that they have crazy prices there. So I'm traveling to Canada with this suitcase of pills, which I use.
That's
I don't
funny.
know if she was like flying there. I'm not
Well,
sure they let
that
her
be
in with that.
yeah, that's the thing. Like I was gonna say, the certain medication, there's certain laws and all that stuff. So I know if you go to Australia, when you're on the plane, when you get off the plane, when you're waiting for your carousel, they keep reminding you, you can't bring this, you can't bring this, you can't bring this, or you'll be fined, right? It's not like that in Canada, but yeah, if they go through your stuff, like if they see something, then they'll ask you, like, why are you bringing it? That's quite funny. Did you have any arguments with anybody on the train, or somebody stepped on you, or somebody tried to fight with you, or you tried to fight with somebody out of frustration?
Except of this lady who just didn't like me
Nothing.
existing, and then she
Yeah.
liked me existing. It was like quite nothing. I had a really interesting like lag in a brain, because there was no place to sit pretty much, and I had to
Yeah.
take my cat out of the box because he was shouting inside, and it was annoying like babies. And they were also starting like to shout, like he's meowing and they are crying. That's what was happening. So for him not to meow, I had to put like to keep him in my hand. But he never sits like in hands for more than 30 seconds, and I was there for 12 hours. So I was having a wrestling with a cat, but at least he was not like meowing. And at some moment, I fall asleep, maybe for like 2 seconds, but it felt like a, a full night of like really sweet dreams. And I wake up and I don't see him in my hands, and I start shouting like, girls, where is my cat? What's going on? Where is he? And they calm me down and they say, you put him in cage and he is not crying. And I just like, because of the tiredness, I just forget like what's happening before I fall asleep. Maybe I put them back in a cage and I was already like unconscious. I just like did it, and then I stay the same like this. I sleep, and I'm like, okay, he's gone. And this like fear, only 1 second, but I was like already like frustrated, because there is a big amount of stories when people were traveling with animals and they were losing them. They were running away, like
Mm.
whatever. They were trying to let them run a bit, and they just escaped, and no one wants to stop and to search for them. So I like, yeah, he helped me to think like short, only about like him and how I'm like
Yeah, yeah.
asleep, not to have a bigger picture.
Makes sense. Makes sense. And were there when you were on the train at night, like in the dark hours, was there ever danger of the train being heard by um and coming under threat in any way, or was it a pretty smooth sailing?
No one is announcing that. We are not warned that we are in danger. We're just taking a very crazy route instead of taking a straight one, Kiev
Oh, I
Lviv.
see.
It's a crazy like route going whatever and no one knows where they take this route from. Who says that they should like drive there and there, or when we should stop? But sometimes we were just like stopping for like 2 hours in darkness. Mhm. So it's like to be in Ukraine now and back then, it's a non-stop threat, non-stop. It's just like you never know where it hits.
Yeah, yeah. And then you get to Poland. Which city in Poland?
Warsaw, the capital.
You were in Warsaw. Okay, so you get to Warsaw. That What was your feeling at the time?
I could not believe I'm safe. Just as soon as I crossed the border and I saw different language on
Hmm.
science, I was like, oh my God, Now I won't be hit with missile. It's incredible feeling. I lived with that feeling all my life and I was not that happy. And then I just like moved from that life threat and no, that's happiness. So yeah, I was very happy and safe and loose like immediately. Of course, it went like to different stages after realizing that I so quickly left my place and that I'm like still on the news every day and that I cry about every attack and about every victim. And it's like, it's different stage. But at that moment, I was like really happy. Uh,
Hmm. And is Joseph still with you?
yes, he is. Like today, he's very polite and he's not showing like his backside to the camera, because normally he does. Like probably asleep.
Maybe he knows you're talking behind his back. Uh, what's what's your, just to wrap things up, the story that you told me, it's a very personal story, right? Like there's no, what I loved about your story when I first heard it, and again, obviously there was new things that you mentioned that we didn't get to talk about initially. It's very, very personal. We don't really talk about politics that much, which is connected to it, but it's just extremely deeply rooted to who you are and what you went through, what you experienced. Ever thought of it turning into a screenplay or a book or a theater play or?
Uh, I partly used this in theater play. We had a performance here in Warsaw and we were showing it in Berlin. We
Mm-hmm.
were like, we mixed up the real stories of the actresses who were performing and from other people, but just
Mm-hmm.
mixed everything up. So another actress was talking about my cat, and it's like the audience loved the cat story the most because then we
Of
have
course.
Q&A after the show and everyone, how's cat doing? Like what's going on with him? So it's very, and we had like this like a part with a drunk guy trying to take his place, and we made it like as if audience has to vote, are they for cat or for the drunk guy to
Oh,
take his place?
nice.
Yeah. Yeah. So the cat story somehow is like the most powerful because maybe it contains love.
Hope. Yeah, hope and love. Yeah. You know what would have been really fascinating? Now I'm just going completely from a movie or a book standpoint or a story. If that drunken guy was right next to you on the train as well, right? Imagine that. If it was a movie, it would have been like that for
Oh
sure.
my God. Yeah. It's very obvious. I talk to a director, you immediately pick up the best spots. Actually, yes. Like it would be great because it would be very unexpected. I didn't mention, but in that evacuation train, mostly like there were no men because
Oh,
everyone
was this?
understands men are not allowed out of the country.
Hmm.
They are obliged like for this military purpose. And most of people are children and women. So if the drunk guy gets in that place, it would be like, a very powerful female attack on him. And especially him being drunk, it could be like tough for the guy. It's like, of course, no competition with my cat. He would be like pushed out from that place. But on a subway station, he had his rights.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much, Hannah. It was such a fascinating story again to rehear it, but also with new stuff. And which is why I decided to ask you to talk about this because you're a great storyteller, and that's very important. And again, it's one thing to be in the industry, but the way you choose your words and the way you describe everything, it's so visualizing that you feel like you're there. So thank you so much for sharing your personal story and putting your vulnerability out there. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a great pleasure to share with your bigger audience such a story. I hope I did not bore people too much. And
No, you didn't. It's a great story. It's a great story, which is, I don't even know how we decided to talk about this when we met, because it just, yeah, it's a great, it's a great story of human spirit and the realness of you didn't shy away from calling yourself crazy. I'm not saying you're crazy, but you just kind of put yourself out there, which is what makes us connect to you more, and which is why I connected to your story way more than I probably would have been if you said, no, I was a perfect human being, XYZ. But thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I wish I wish this story just makes at least someone hug their cat or baby or husband or wife or sister or brother or mommy or daddy. Like,
Or a drunk guy.
yeah, he deserves it. Even he deserves it.
Yeah, no,
Thank you
it's
so much.
no, thank you. Thank you so much. We'll be in touch, I'm sure. All right. Thank you so much, Anna. Have a good one. Take care. Bye
Take
bye.
care. Bye.